This is George Dionne for KNAC.com, and I'm here with Dave from Hell in the Club. If I knew absolutely nothing about Hell in the Club, how would you describe the band's music to me?
Well, there's, Hell in the Club's music is nothing, I would say, revolutionary or original. Pass me the word. This band was born as a tribute to this kind of music, this hard rock coming from the 80s, which was basically what moved us since we were kids in listening to music and being interested in this in rock and heavy metal. So basically it's a love letter to that kind of music, and Hell in the Club was born mainly for that purpose. I mean, to pay tribute to that kind of music and the bands that we were fond of when we were kids, bands like Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Skid Row, and the like. And then, of course, it's also a great pleasure playing together as friends, and it's that kind of band. I mean, we're four friends playing the music we we love and that we were just raised with, basically.
And you're celebrating the 10th anniversary of your first album with an EP release called Kamikaze, 10 Years in the Slums. This album was actually delayed for a year, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, the 10th anniversary occurred last year, but well, we all know what happened in 2020, and everything went to hell pretty much. So we had to postpone the EP, but the main reason why we had to postpone it was for the printing delays for the vinyls. That was the main reason, and still we had several delays, even more than we expected, and that was forecast. So the vinyl will be hopefully finally available in June, and that's when we will start shipping all the pre-orders that we're getting of this EP. Anyway, yeah, we're celebrating this 10th anniversary. The first album was released in 2011. Let the Games Begin, and we thought it was a nice idea to celebrate, as you said, the 10th anniversary. But basically this EP is like the sum of three ideas that we wanted to in some way realize as a band. First of all, it's been it was ages that we wanted to record a special song for Halloween, and so we just thought a little bit, a new song or a cover song. And we this second idea came to record some cover songs, cover versions of some of the songs that influenced us the most when we were kids. But then we came back to the Halloween idea, and then we thought about covering some songs from the 80s, of course, still 80s and 90s, that were linked in some way to the horror imagery and the horror feeling that you have at Halloween, of course. And being also myself a big horror fan, that was something I would always wanted to do, pay tribute to hard rock and heavy metal and horror movies. That's kind of my best favorite thing ever. And then, of course, the thing that about celebrating Let the Games Begin. So we kind of brought all these ideas together, and at the end we made this EP where there are songs that celebrate the 10th anniversary. There are cover songs. There is this special Halloween cover song of Alice Cooper, He's Back, that we released, of course, at Halloween. Another cover song, and then a rearrangement of the Japanese bonus track that was released with the first album, and that we felt the need to rearrange and re-record. So basically, this is the what stands behind this EP.
Well, let's talk about the lyrics behind Kamikaze. That's pretty much your story, isn't it? Kind of surviving through all this stuff to be
It is.
and continue to be a band.
Exactly. You got it. It's exactly our story. Basically, the fact that yeah, we're struggling. We have been struggling for 10 years, and most of the times we have we were just talking before writing the lyrics of this song, and we were just realizing that no matter what, throughout all these 10 years, we've been doing things and you know making choices that most of the time got us broke, or I don't know, in some kind of uh, what can I say, that some kind of problem anyway. So we always ended up like a kamikaze that just it goes down, and yeah, disaster. But yeah, it's a funny way, it's a funny way to tell our story, because basically we've always been an underground band, and we will always be. I think that we will never uh make choices that are, I don't know, that in some way have to make sense nowadays in music, like, I don't know, being super present on social media, or doing this and doing that. It's not our dimension, it's not how we were raised, and it's not, it has in our opinion, it has nothing to do with this kind of music. We are celebrating this music because it comes from the past. It's from the 80s and the 90s, and we loved that spirit, and we are trying to revive the kind of spirit by playing this kind of music, by doing some songs that we love. So all the rest is not for us, not for us in the club, and that is why we will surely always stay in the underground, and that's our kamikaze thing.
You cover Alice Cooper's "He's Back," the man behind the mask from Friday the 13th. I believe it was part 6, maybe 5, whichever.
Mhm.
But have you
Six.
have you gotten any feedback from Alice Cooper, or have you ever met Alice Cooper?
No, unfortunately, no. Never met Alice, and no, we didn't have any feedback from him or the band. Probably because there are so many Alice Cooper cover songs out there, so he's probably not counting anymore. But yeah, it's we totally love Alice Cooper and those years, and also the horror films and horror movies. And we were a little bit, and we didn't know which song to choose until the end, because on the table there were, of course, Dream Warriors by Dionne. We wanted to do that at first. And by the way, I saw that they released a very cool documentary on that. It's on Gibson
I
YouTube
watched
channel.
it.
That's awesome. That's
It is
awesome.
good.
Yeah, and I really I'm a big fan of that kind of mashup. Hard rock from the 80s and horror movies. It my kind of thing. And so Dream Warriors was on the table. There was also of course He's Back, and then we thought about Scream Until You Like It by Wasp, by the Ghoulies film. Movie. But in the end, yeah, we decided to cover another song by Wasp, as you've seen, and stick to Alice Cooper for. But I was said that He's Back is an underrated song, in my opinion, because a lot of people thought it was a gimmick song. It was just an easy song made for the movie, but I think it's a very cool song in the end. It's very pop feeling, but it was cool to cover it as he does live. It's a total rock song, and we like to cover it as he does live.
You covered Chainsaw Charlie by Wasp on your album. Uh, have you ever run into any Chainsaw Charlies as far as management and whatnot in the record industry?
No, fortunately not. And I think that by reading that concept back in the days, it's it was pretty clear in my mind that I had to stay, very far from figures like the Chainsaw Charlie manager that we see in the concept, in the story of the album. And I think that Blackie made an incredible job on that album, musically and also lyric wise. I think that he made an incredible job, and for kids like me who were reading that story and that were understanding what he was saying with that story was incredible. It was of course it's a fictional story, but as we all know, it is not, probably most of what's written is true, or near to the truth. So it was great to see how an artist like Blackie, like how big it was, and it was just putting himself openly and telling people, this hard rock, this glam metal thing is great, but it has its dark sides, and it was really cool to read that, coming directly from one of the artists.
Have you ever seen Wasp play live?
Yeah, we've also played with them with my other band. I played before Wasp, and it was amazing to watch them. Unfortunately, it wasn't in the 80s or or in the early 90s. It was something like 10 years ago, but it was fucking cool. Yeah,
Awesome.
I watched, I saw them many times. Also I remember one Wacken open air that they played. Was amazing show, amazing, totally. It was energy, cool.
So with sort of this horror fascination that you have, and particularly these covers, has Hell in the Club ever thought of doing sort of like a horror themed story album or concept in that vein? Not necessarily covers, but original material, kind of in the horror sense, sort of like Ice Nine Kills has been doing lately.
Yeah, well, you are anticipating some of the stuff we were talking about and thinking about for the next album, actually. And me and Andy were thinking about writing some story and having at least a part of the album talking about this story and telling this story through the music and the lyrics. So you have discovered our next project.
I'm psychic. I'm psychic, and they're gonna make a horror movie about me and my psychic powers. It'd probably call it Firestarter.
Totally. Totally. Well, yeah, we still don't know. We have some ideas. We still don't know how it's gonna be, if it's gonna be the whole album, some songs, 3 songs, I don't know. But yeah, the idea was to do something like that. Yeah.
Okay. You are going to be releasing a vinyl version of the EP, a cassette version, and a special limited edition bundle. This is something that the band's doing themselves, right? Awesome. You already got the cassette.
It's the only thing that we have. Vinyl, we're still waiting, as I said. Yes. I mean, this time, of course, we were still signed with Frontiers Music, and they are releasing the digital version of this EP. But we wanted to print a special edition for the fans, and for the fact that in a way this is a very special release because of the anniversary thing. And we decided together with Frontiers to do it ourselves. The physical part is done by ourselves. We're selling the vinyl and the cassette on our Bandcamp page. And another Kamikaze project. Hopefully not.
Are you going to be able to go out on tour anytime soon?
Well, that's difficult. We have a couple of shows here in Italy that are rescheduled from 2020 or 2021. I don't remember now. I've lost what was the, how can I say that?
What
contact.
Was planned and what's left.
It's well fucked up. So we're gonna do a couple of shows here in Italy this summer, Maybe some festivals we are, talking now with some festivals, but probably it will all be from 2023 on. So we'll have to, wait a little bit more. That's why we'll start working on a new album, so that we'll finally have something to go with, when we'll be finally ready and be able to tour. It's a mess, but as in the club, we didn't have the frenzy to do it all, to do as many gigs as we could. I think we're taking it easy. I mean, we'll be playing live when there will be the chance, and all the right things are in place. I mean, so.
So it's been 10 years. What do you think has changed the most about the band?
Well, we're older, of course, and we feel it, because we were not a 20 years old band. We were already in our 30s when we started. So of course that's the main thing that changed. But well, I mean, about the way that we're approaching this band and the music, nothing has changed basically. Probably we're a little bit less crazy about doing many things and playing there and do an album one after the other, something that we had at the beginning, because we were fresh and we wanted to do a lot of stuff with the band. Maybe that changed a little bit. We're taking things a little bit more with a little bit more wiser probably, and with a slower pace, but apart from that, it's the love for this music, the love for this band is always there. I mean, probably the scene has changed a bit, because we were, this band was born when there was still this kind of revival of hard rock and sleaze and glam metal was still going on, with bands like Hardcore Superstar were super big at the time, and Crash Diet. In fact, we made also a tour with Crash Diet, and that kind of genre was super, trying to get out again, to be popular again. I think that now is things that have cooled off a little bit for this kind of music. I don't know if you have the same impression, but
it depends where you kind of go after it, because in the US, rock and roll's not really the same as it is over in Europe. It's not really embraced as much. There's a certain radio sound that they embrace, and that's all you really hear unless you go on the internet or you stream, or I find most of the better bands out in Europe.
Okay, yeah. Well, but also in Europe, I think that things have changed a little bit, especially for this niche, for this kind of music. But we still go, and we'll see. There is no big deal in the end. I mean, there's no big contracts, or we don't have any deadlines or whatever. We just do it for the fun. We all have our jobs, daily jobs, and we don't care about that. It's cool as long as we are able to do things like this EP, albums, and so on. We're still we still have a good collaboration with Frontiers, so it's good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Am I able to divulge your secret identity as the frontman of Elvenking as well?
Of course you can.
You're celebrating anniversary with them as well. 20 years. You released a couple of remasters of past albums, Heathen Reel 20th anniversary and the Winter Wake 15th anniversary. So you could talk a little bit about that if you'd like.
It's many anniversaries to remind me that I'm getting older and older. 20 years. Yeah, for Heathen Reel. I mean, we of course it was 2000 in 21, so there's another delay there, but also the vinyls for Elvenking had a slight delay. Anyway, we are celebrating especially Heathen Reel because it's of course the first album, the very first album we recorded as a band, and as musicians. We were kids basically. I was 18, 19, so I was, basically a kid, and we had a big time this year, going through old material, old photos, old videos, and we made a big trip back to memory lane this year, and it's amazing to see that we're still here and that we are celebrating. 20 years. We never had hoped we go so far with a band, and that's the most incredible thing for us, the most surprising thing. And we will probably we have collected a lot of this old material. We will probably there's a friend of ours that is working on this material, and it will probably end up making a documentary on the making of Heathen Reel and of the starting of Elvenking, the first years of the band. That's going to be very interesting. And it's great to be here. It's as I said, it's surprising that we're still here because really we've been we've been through so much lineup changes, and the times changing, the scene changing so much from the beginning, from 1997, 1998 when we started. We have this big box full of letters, handwritten letters, and that's, if you show this to, I don't know, to a kid nowadays, what is this shit? Why don't you have emails? But yeah, the people was writing letters, and it was cool. It was the end of a big great era for music, for metal, for this kind of stuff, and going through the transition, from that era to what then became the digital and all the stuff we are living today, with the way people is living music today, has been pretty difficult. And that's the cool thing, we are watching at those albums, and we are printing these vinyls nowadays. And it's also, the Winter Wake was kind of coming. It came out in the exact year when things changed, where things disrupted for bad. Napster came and all this shit. So it's cool to see, that first part of our career, and see how cool it was in a way.
Is Elvenking still an active band?
Sure it is. We are working on new album, and basically it's with the previous album that was released in 2019, we started which was the 10th album, if I'm correct. Yeah, we have started a trilogy, and now we have been working these 2 years. We've been working on the 2 follow-ups of that one, so we have 2 albums ready. Basically, we will start recording in May, and the first part, and then we will record them both at the same time. Then we will release the second part, and then probably year after we will release the third part. So yeah, there's
Blackie Lawless style right there with the orphan story he had there.
Yeah, the influences are there, of course. Also the King Diamond stuff, and yeah, we just wanted to do a concept album, or like we did, a trilogy, because we always thought that in our career we had to do that at least once in our career.
Well, the new Hell in the Club EP is out now digitally and on CD. It's called Kamikaze, 10 Years in the Slums. It's a great EP to tide people over for your next album. And you have the Elvenking remasters out now as well to keep people tied up before the new album. You you're pretty busy and you're killing it out there, Dave. And I want to thank you for talking to knac.com.
Thank you so much, George. Thank you so much.